Hello and welcome to the Vocational Education Podcast. On today's episode, we'll hear from renowned workshop facilitator Mark Miles about his new 2-day program and the content that it's based on. Here's your host, Dan Hill.
Welcome along to the Vocational Education Podcast. My name's Dan Hill, and today we're talking with Mark Miles about the Facilitation Mastery Workshop. The workshop's had its debut and has had amazing feedback. So firstly, welcome along Mark Miles, and I'd love to start with some of the feedback you got from your first workshop.
Thank you so much, Dan. Great to be here as always. Yeah, the feedback was quite profound, to be honest. People certainly came from various backgrounds. We had people that had been in the vet sector for maybe 5, even 10 years. Some people that were outside the vet sector as well, even hypnotherapists, people that were working in the coaching space, people that were delivering keynote presentations, people that were just teaching TAE, of course, as well. So there was such a wide variety of people, even RTO managers themselves as well, that came along. The feedback was quite incredible, to be honest. They didn't just love the content, but we had people that actually used the information, went away, actually got great results for themselves for presentations they were delivering as well. So that was really quite rewarding, and I don't want to say unexpected, but really, really happy to see that people took us so far.
Yeah, I did notice some of the feedback was talking about how they managed to apply it straight away afterwards. So what we might do is to get into the nuts and bolts of what the workshop is. Firstly, it's over 2 days.
It is.
It's based on a weekend, so it doesn't take people out of their workplaces. So it really is for those who want personal and professional development. Yeah, if you can take us maybe through some of the key content points and obviously how it's related back to your book material as well.
That's a great point, and I'm glad that you brought up the book. Essentially, the origin of the workshop was all about the people that were going through the book were really enjoying it. They were loving it, and they were sending me a lot of great feedback, but I still ultimately knew for someone to really master skills, they had to actually have moments of embodying the learning, trying the skills, and actually getting feedback. So the idea was to put together a 2-day event where people could come along and learn multiple structures and actually apply it to their own content, their own topics. So the philosophy in the workshop is that every presentation, every workshop is built across and built upon multiple mini little presentations. And when you know these mini presentations that you actually do, you can actually craft a really solid workshop or solid keynote. So essentially the workshop was, I would teach a piece of content or teach a pillar. People would learn it, people would put it into their own context, and then they would apply it into little breakout rooms and then get feedback, and then we would celebrate that success, and then we would go on to the next one and go on to the next one. And by the end of the day, they had all these little mini presentations they could do, and then at the end of each day, they did a little bit of a longer presentation that encapsulated all these mini presentations. So they literally walked away with their own brand new keynote or brand new workshop that they had structured, and they felt so rewarded and empowered, and they walked away with some tools in their tool belt they could walk away with and go, wow, okay, I've got a training coming up next Monday and I'm going to add in this piece or that piece, or just tweak what I'm already doing. But we also talked about the science of engagement. So anyone that's been working in the vet sector and training knows that engagement is key. So we looked at, well, how do we create that, and how do we speak in a way that is most impactful and influential as possible in a training room?
So speaking of the pillars, you mentioned that word. Tell us what the pillars are, potentially.
I don't know.
Okay, we're letting out some IP here. Maybe we can't. Maybe one of the pillars, just to give us a bit of a teaser.
Well, not necessarily naming the pillars, but what I will say is that one of the things that people walk away with is their signature system. So what I mean by that is essentially creating a structure in which they can talk and that they can put together, okay, this is Bill, and when I talk to Bill, immediately he's going to talk to me about his signature system for training or for his topic. So for me, one simple thing that I've been talking about over the last, 10, 12 years now, which is mentioned in my book, is my system of rapport, engagement, retention, RER. Now, that is a system that I've been talking about all these years, but if anyone ever say, what's Mark about? Well, Mark's about rapport, engagement, retention. And what we find is when people can develop their signature system, and in the workshop we talk about how to do that, suddenly people see you as the credible expert. Someone's got a bit of authority. They've put some thought into their ideas. They've got structure around their ideas, and they're able to unpack their ideas. So anytime someone's on a YouTube clip or a podcast or anything like that, clarity comes from the structure, and really that's the basis that you come back to. I was listening to a podcast this morning, and I won't name names, but this particular person's thoughts were all over the place. And it was I'll say, painful to listen to, because I was constantly thinking, where is she going with this? What is she trying to articulate? And all she needed really was a great, simple signature system. So that's one of the things that people walk away with. In regards to the other pillars, well, every pillar is basically a simplified idea. And we talk about, well, when do you use each particular pillar? In total, there's 14 of them. And essentially, when you know each of them, you can go, okay, for this audience right now, I'm going to plop in this pillar, and we're going to increase the amount of alertness in the room. And so in my book, I certainly mention the pillars, and it's quite exciting that you can use these pillars online and also face-to-face as well.
So speaking of books, you've got another one about to drop.
I do.
So, that's not the reason for this podcast, everybody. I know people normally do podcasts when there's a book to be sold. So tell us how this book differs from the first, and what sort of things people will hope to get from this new prose.
What a great question. I'd actually forgotten about the second one. Yes, it is dropping probably, I would say, late end of this month, early September. I guess I wrote this book because I went on a bit of a journey. Everybody, I would say, is quite comfortable in the face-to-face space, or they've had a bit of experience in that space. COVID happened, and then we were all faced with a brand new reality. Online training, it wasn't going away. As much as we had our resistance to it, or we were like, semi-going into it. But I realized that ultimately, to be a great quality trainer these days in the marketplace, you have to be good in both spheres or both paradigms. So you may be great in face-to-face, but if you can't show up powerfully online, whether it's Zoom or Teams or any other platform, then you may not be able to be the great standout trainer in your industry. So for me, I went on a bit of a journey, and I guess the first couple of chapters in the book, in this new book, are all about that kind of journey and the struggles and challenges that people went through migrating or entering into the online sphere. I guess the book ultimately is about how do you take the core concept from the first book and apply it to the online space. And I wanted to write it to essentially connect with the trainer that maybe is really struggling to make that transition. A big part of the book is technology setup. How do you do that? Also, how do you communicate with your audience so that they turn up ready to participate? Another part about it is all the phrases that you can use when you're presenting online. How to use, the functions to a degree, but we all know Zoom changes its mind and changes all the functions so regularly with its updates. But ultimately, how do you really take the goodness from the first book and apply it to the online world so that you feel confident in both spaces and can apply those pillars in both paradigms?
So what I'd like to go to now, I think, Mark, is to talk about the next workshop. Now, this podcast will be dropping pretty quickly just to make it the most relevant to listeners. So our next workshop is scheduled for December. And we're going to probably run these every 2 to 3 months, depending on demand, and to see what the feedback's like and how the word of mouth sort of extends as well. So tell us when this is coming up, and what people can expect when they turn up, because you've probably tweaked it since the first one, yes?
Yes, the next one is the first weekend in December, which is very exciting, again on a Saturday and Sunday. For me, again, it's going to be another really exciting moment of just having a room full of people that are really emotionally invested in their own personal development. But a big thing that we really foster in the event is safety, and we don't allow any judgment or negativity at all. And I guess we really invite anyone and everyone wants to take their presenting to the next level, or just feel even more confident in running workshops. I certainly have made some tweaks and certainly look to add in even more of what people were looking for, which was feeling even more confident in their own identity, building up their confidence and their, I guess, sense of they are the right person to deliver their message. And also from that, how do you really connect deeper with an audience and also make the training that you deliver stick at a deeper level? And we have I believe it's a 95-page manual that people receive. And the way I see the manual is it's a working document that people work through the entire training, but also people can go away, re-look at things, and there's lots of templates in there as well. So that combined with the book and the experience. The other thing is we had people that couldn't actually attend the training, but they actually went through the recordings. And we had one person that couldn't attend the event, but she went through day one of the recording alone and was able to go away and rewrite her entire presentations that she does. And she got massive value from just listening to the recording alone. And for me, that was a pretty big wow moment. I'm like, you didn't even watch the recording, but you still got massive value. So if people come along, they get all those things and a lot more. But for me, it's just awesome to have a room that of all these people that truly want the best for themselves, but also other people. And it's like no other training you're ever going to experience, because it's not just me talking, it's about people doing and really lifting each other up, because I think that's the most important thing. Anytime you go to a training event, you're always going to feel a little bit self-conscious, but we celebrate everyone and we just want to make sure everyone has a great experience.
Yeah, that's one of the great things. What I've heard about, seen from the feedback, is the experiential learning cycle that people enter into. So that they have a new idea, they form that concrete experience by actually then doing almost immediately, and that is really the way to learn. And that's probably why there's been such positive feedback amongst many other things. I mean, you're very dynamic, and people keep saying, "My gosh, I want to be like you." So that's a lovely bit of feedback. And also I like the span or breadth of the differences of the people who attend. It's not just for one type of person. As you mentioned, it could be keynote speakers, admin people in RTOs. It doesn't really matter. If you want to create a workshop experience, or you want to be able to speak more confidently, then this could be the workshop. Now, we're also really excited because this is I don't know if you've been to a Tony Robbins workshop for a day and spent $5,000 or $10,000 if you're up the front. This is nothing like that. This is 2 days with a bunch of amazing colleagues and Mark up the front, taking you through the entire experience, and the entire 2 days is just $449. So it'll be going up next year. So definitely get into this next one if you can. So again, Mark, thank you very much for your time. I'm really looking forward to seeing the next book come out, and we'll promote that also on the website and make sure people can access your journey and see how it reflects on their own, so they can sort of make that connection and figure out what they want to do with their skills in the field of facilitation, presentations, and workshop delivery. So again, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks so much, Dan.